So how many PhDs actually expect to get a tenure? So that's actually what I want to talk about in this video is, do you actually expect to get tenure if you get a PhD? And if that's the case, what is it that average person is going to, how often are they actually going to get tenure, or they expect to get tenure? So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massac. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for to help you out. So how many PhDs actually expect to get tenure? Actually, I asked this poll of the reciprocity community on YouTube. If you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe so you can be part of this reciprocity community, because I think it's very, very vital for you if you are a professor or a PhD or anything like that, or going into, if you're in graduate school or undergrad and you're wondering about this whole weird academic community. Anyways, so how many people actually expect to get tenure? Only 29% actually expect to get tenure at a known university. I asked them, if you are getting a PhD or an assistant professor, do you believe you have a good chance of getting tenure at a known university? And 69 people responded. And of those, only 29% expected that they were going to get tenure at a university. 38% said maybe, which is not really good, right? So you have to realize that only a third of the people that are actually getting a PhD is expecting to get tenure when they do that. And how do you actually increase the likelihood that you are going to get tenure at a good research institution where you can have a research career and do things that are going to do really well for you, and that you actually are going to get tenure? And so these are some tips that I think are very vital for that. So the first thing is to find interesting research. I think this is so key, not only to your sanity, but also to the sanity of everybody that's paying attention to what you're doing. You see so often that people are doing this kind of boring, redundant research that is just not going to excite anybody. And so what you need to look for is something that's interesting and something that's exciting and something that is really contemporary. So look for things, just go into a newspaper and see what are contemporary things that people are talking about, and actually just start talking about them. So, in my field, you could be doing something, do research on ICOs, for example, initial coin offerings. That's kind of a weird thing. NFTs, there's all this kind of blockchain, Bitcoin kind of stuff. There's this whole area. There's so much that you could do. You just have to sort of pick that thing and think about that. What are the implications of all those kind of things? And just start doing some research on that. That's all you have to do, is just really look for where people are like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like in popular culture, where people are excited about it, celebrity culture or whatever, do research on that. Why not, right? Like, I don't know why people are like, they have to look for some really profound thing. You just have to mimic what people are looking at. A second thing that you have to do is identify a very good supervisor that is going to help you get tenure, and really invest in your career. I think that's the key thing that you're going to see, is that there's all types of people. I mean, people are weird, right, in their own unique way, and so there's a real variance between what people do. There's supervisors that take a real standoff approach and just let the students do all of the work. And then there's other, supervisors that really invest in the individual and want to make sure that they do really well. And then there's everybody else that's in between, right? And so you probably do want somebody that wants to invest in you, but also that you can run and do things on your own. And so you have to drive the process. If you're relying too much on your supervisor, that's not a good sign for you. That means you're sucking at it at this moment, right? And so you have to really invest in what you are doing, and not rely so much on that. But finding that good supervisor is going to really help in terms of taking you to the next level, because they really do push you, and it does matter. And there's people all over the world that are great, and you just have to look for people that are very good, or get some thoughts on other people that are in the field and say, who's a good person to go to? Where's a great place to be? I would love, it'd be awesome if everybody came to my institution. That's never going to happen. But, There are really great people that are out there, and you just have to look at it and see what people are doing. So the other thing is be creative in your research and be creative in the process and how you actually get tenure. I think that is really important. Yet, so not only I talked about this sort of doing interesting research, but just be creative, do something that's different. Like screw what everybody else is doing. That is really boring. But at the same time, to get creative with the tenure process, look for positions that you might have thought, why would I go there, right? Like I came to Florida. I live in Florida at this moment. I'm not going to tell you the institution I'm at. Never would have thought of Florida. And I just kind of applied broadly when I came here. And I was like, what? Like I never even went to Florida. And I just kind of outside of my decision set. And so you kind of have to be creative in where you're going to go. And then also, you might have to build these relationships. And that's where sort of the creativity comes from, is looking for where there's kind of a fit. And sometimes for me, like in a business school, I might end up going to, if there's a fit in an engineering program, then I might think about that, right? Like, it doesn't mean that you have to, if you do your PhD in, I don't know, anthropology, you have to go to an anthropology program. Like, nuts to that. Find something that fits. I mean, you could be in a medical school. I've seen that, where somebody's like an anthropologist in a medical school. Why not, right? Like, look for those kind of creative ways to fit within the profession. Now, the last thing is to find an institution, find the right institution that's actually going to help you get tenure. I think that is huge in terms of, you can go to a high status institution, a very high status institution, but it's hard to get tenure. But that's not a bad thing, because you're probably going to get tenure at another place. But going to an institution, there's also institutions out there that are not necessarily high status, but they kind of pretend like they want to be, and then they're just, they've got all this weird politics and stuff like that prevents you from getting tenure. It happens all the time. And so what you want to look for is institutions that are really supportive, and that, that have high status as well. That's what you want to look for, is ones that are going to be supportive and help you out. And really want you to get tenure in every way that they can. That's going to be very, very vital for you, both at the PhD level, but also, once you go out into the profession as well. So with that, hopefully this helps you out. Give me one of these. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.